Hello, this is Fam Electric Ghost, and we are live on our Facebook channel, Fam Electric Ghost, right now. We're talking to Azacabaria, who is a electronic producer and flautist, and she's come up with a variation on techno. They call it Techno DOUCE, which is soft techno, and we're
Yeah.
glad to have you on the show. Go ahead. How are you doing today?
Great. And you? I'm happy to see you.
Yeah, it's good that we are able to finally connect through all the technical issues because of COVID. You never know what's going on. But I sent your questions ahead of time. But I might want to do is actually introduce people to your music by playing your video from
Okay.
YouTube for Swim. So I'm going to put that on. I'm going to mute you for a second. We're going to play the whole thing, and then we'll talk about that and go into the questions.
Okay.
Could you forget the time only for free your mind? Could you be totally with me, dear? Do you feel your heart beating in your chest? Allow yourself now with me to escape. Dance on the sand of dreamland, diving into the sea, alongside you, swim, swim, swim. Do you feel the caress of the breeze on your cheek? Do you smell the fragrance of the beach? Open your eyes and take a deep breath. Allow yourself now with me to escape. Dance on the sand of dreamland, diving into the sea, alongside you, swim. Dance on the sand of dreamland, diving into the sea, alongside you, swim, swim, swim. Alongside you, sweet.
Now I'm back. You can
It's
hear me?
okay. Yes.
Yeah, so I think that video really shows off what your style of music is.
Yeah. Mm.
I think it's good to show people visually and the sound before you get into the discussion, which is one of the benefits of doing this on video.
Yes.
So the first question we have for you is like, when did you first get into music and at what age? And we'll kind of back into your video, but we wanted to show people the context of what you're into.
I always wanted to make music when I was a kid in school and people asked me what I would like to do for a job later. I always said I'll be a singer. I tried piano at 4 years old and I went to the conservatory to learn transverse flute and classic dance at 6. And after that, I went to a school to learn to sing. And I start my first song. I start writing my first song at 12 years old, and then I begin to composing with MAO about 15, I think. Mm-hmm. I hope you understand me because my English is. I'm French.
No, I've talked to a lot of European artists, and from Netherlands, Denmark, Germany. So I'm getting used to.
Okay.
Yeah, so it sounds like that's an interesting background to get into. But I'm just wondering, like, when you decided that you wanted to like have your own voice and do your own music.
I decided really early because I writing my first song at 12 and composing at 15. So. But I really begin my own project when I was 20, I think. I wanted to make an album and everything. But since I'm a baby, I think I want to be an artist. So
how did you pick the flute? I actually started on clarinet. I actually started on.
Oh, okay, cool.
Me, it's hard to write like full songs without learning like the keyboard, so I ended up switching into synthesizers. But yeah, I'm actually thinking of bringing back like a MIDI wind controller into what I'm doing, like one of the Roland wind controllers or the Yamaha, just to try to bring that back into my music.
Cool.
But yeah, how did you get into become a flautist? Was that a conscious choice? You wanted to do the flute?
Actually, when I began the flute at 6, but when I was a teenager, I thought that the flute isn't cool, so I stopped it. And when I begin to, I'm a jazz singer next this, and I bring one day I say this is a pity to don't use it in jazz, so I begin to try to play in jazz. And after that, when I did my project Azcabaria with electro, I say this is original to mix flute and electro music.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Ian Anderson did with Jethro Tull, because like if you go back like in rock music, the flute wasn't really being used. It was used in jazz, but like
in jazz, yes.
Really, yeah, but it's just like so when Ian Anderson brought that to Jethro Tull, he kind of created this progressive rock capability of bringing classical concepts into progressive rock. So I think you're bringing that to like techno.
Yeah.
So they equate this to like something some of the people in my audience might be into, because I've been a big fan of progressive rock bands like Jethro Tull, bands like Yes and Genesis. And I think a lot of those bands brought classical into rock, and so you're bringing that capability as a flautist into techno and electronic music, which is really cool.
Thank you.
Now, going back to the video, did you work with like a video director and animator to do that work? Is that your own work, or you work with like a video animator and a producer?
For my clip?
Yeah, the clip.
The clip, I did the music, but the artist who did the clip, she's a drawer. I don't know if it's the word.
Animator, yeah.
And her name is Camille Lalou, and we met each other there is 2 years ago, and we have a real I don't know how to say in English. In French, we say coup de foudre. It's like we fell in love to each other art. You know, she loved my music, and I loved her.
Oh,
her.
So you let her. How did you come to like give her your music? Was she interested in your music, or you guys were talking and you told her you're a musician, and then she like wanted to listen to what you were working on?
You mean
Yeah.
if I did the music before? Sorry?
Yeah. Had she heard you before? Had she?
Yeah. Yeah, a friend of mine met her, and she gave her the song to listen, and she felt in love with my music, and she proposed me to do this wonderful clip, and yeah, it was.
Do you think you'll continue to work with her? Like, if you have other songs, do you think she would?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think that's really cool because I like bands like the Gorillaz. If you think about like the Gorillaz and Damon Albarn, the Gorillaz as an electronic band, they had like artists behind Tank Girl, which was a comic book, actually create the band is like cartoon characters, and so yeah. So I don't know if you ever heard it. It's like an English band called the Gorillaz. They've been around for like over 10 years. But they're like a fantasy band. Like all the members of the band are cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see them play live, they even have sometimes like virtual and like holographic images of their characters of the band, or like cartoon characters.
Yeah.
And so like when I saw your art, I thought that was really interesting because you know, Damon Albarn and the Gorillaz, they use a lot of like animation in their work, and it's cool to see that. You saw that with a band like Radiohead. Radiohead is famous for their cartoon videos that they did back 10 years ago for some of their early albums. But I think it's a good way to do something. It allows you to do art with another artist. You know,
exactly.
To be able to
it was my wish, and I wanted a woman because I love to show that woman can be so wonderful too.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful video, and it kind of gives you a different, like, I listened to the song without the video,
and
then I listened to with the video, and it's like it's cool to have like an artist, you know, how they feel about something, and a lot of times, a long time ago on MTV, you'd have directors take a song and they'd let them just do something, maybe not, it doesn't even follow the lyrics, but it had the feeling, like so an artist will have an impression of what your work is, and you kind of let them go with it, and I think it's really cool. Can I get the feel of that kind of freedom of swimming in the ocean and just kind of mermaid symbols, and
great.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful expression.
Thank you very much.
So like I guess the other question we always get into when we're talking to artists is the idea of you know, your references and your influences. Like I heard some people, but I'd like to ask you, like in terms of your musical influences, who were you inspired by to like get into music, and who do you like look to, or maybe you use as a inspiration, not like you're copying, but the feel of like the artist that made you want to become a musician? You know, like who are your influences or reference points?
I have a lot of influences, so this is a big question for me. You are ready?
Yeah, that's cool. That's good to hear.
Okay, because when I was I'm born into a family where all style of music played. When I was kid, I listened to Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, and then Fugees, Lauryn Hill, Aretha Franklin, but also Oriental music, salsa like Tito Puente, jazz like Billie Holiday. I love her so much, and rock and roll, Pink Floyd. You know, so I'm growing in this atmosphere, and my first great love was hip hop.
Hip hop. Yep.
I'm a huge fan of Mobb Deep and Dr. Dre, for example. I didn't understand the lyrics, but I love their flow and I love so much their music. And at the same time, I had a blast on Prodigy. You know, Prodigy is Back My Bitch Up.
Yeah.
66.
Like 9 Inch Nails, Trent Reznor sound.
Yeah, so good. And 66, like Alarma, Rythme Fatal. So this was my teenage age. And one day I went to my first electro festival, Astropolis in France. And there was Green Velvet played. It's an amazing set. And when I went back to my home, I was so exhausted. And I stopped the TV, and there was the Paul Kalkbrenner movie, Berlin Calling. Oh, wow. And I totally felt in love with this unbelievable album. And it was a revelation for me, like the sky told me, hey, electro, this is your way, you know. And here born my biggest love, the electro music. And since this, I discover a lot of artists and listen a lot of Dominique Elberg, Stéphane Bodzin, Recondite, Monkey Safari, Joachim Pastor. So I think my influences come from all those artists who was with me in all my life. And maybe a piece of Alice in Wonderland.
No, I think it's great because one of the things I like about electronic music, I got into it, and I started in rock. Like I started with like punk rock, but I'm in my 50s, right? So I grew up as a kid listening to like The Clash and like Joy Division, New Order, Duran Duran, and then I said, hey, I mean all my like classmates was like, well, let's go make a punk band. But then I was like, I couldn't play guitar, so I got into keyboards. And then I discovered bands like Duran Duran and New Order. And I was like, oh, yeah, you can have like a punk aesthetic, but be into electronic music. And you can take these keyboards and you can craft all this stuff. And then I found out that like, if you're into electronic music back then, like the new wave is like, if you had like a Roland, like a Jupiter or something, you could do anything. You could go and do ska, you could do jazz, you could do, and then I felt like, wow, then I can not just be a punk band. We can kind of go into like, be like Yes, be like Genesis, be like Pink Floyd. And it opened up this whole thing where then you can go to hip hop, you can go to funk, you can go to classical. And I think it was the great thing about electronic music is like you could be in EDM, you could be psytrance, you could be.
It's so vast, it's so big.
Yeah, you can mix things. Like what you're doing is bringing like a classical instrument, like a flute. And I like to bring sometimes I like to bring like a taiko, like a Japanese taiko, bring that in, or do like field recordings, or bring like a real like a banjo and then sample it, or and then do granular synthesis or something. But there's so many things you can do because it's so wide open. And so I was wondering,
this is magic.
Your gear behind you. I see you got a bunch of synths and like a bunch of things. so what's your preferred method? Like, do you like to, I know you probably got your DAW, you've got your synthesizer. Like, what is that, a Korg? Is that a Korg behind you?
You see?
Yeah, I see it.
My flute, my baby.
Yeah, I see your flute. Yeah, that's awesome.
Her name is Tony.
Oh, you named her?
Yeah, because when I had her the first time, I crushed her on the floor, and she had a scar face. So a scar, Yeah. So I call her Tony, like Tony Montana, because she has a scar.
Tony Montana. Yeah, that's a great movie.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. Like, so everybody's in their home studio today, and that kind of brings me to the question of like when you record, like what type of DAW or digital audio workstation do you use? Usually, like
what I use, what the material I use. This is your question.
Yeah, like you use like Logic or.
I use Ableton Live.
Ableton Live, yeah.
Yeah, my software.
Do you find that that's easier for you to use? I know a lot of people came from Logic and then they say they like Ableton because it gives them more control.
I don't know because I never used Logic, And I use Ableton Live since my 20 years old, I think.
Mhm.
And for me, this is the ones that I know. So this is difficult for me to try another one, you know.
Yeah. What kind of mic do you use to mic your flute?
My mic is it's not here. This is a Beta, Shure,
Yep.
Beta 57A.
You find that works good for the flute?
Yeah, because this is a sound really natural, you know.
Because
So
it
I like
doesn't
it.
distort it, right? You get a clean sound out of it. You can get what it doesn't change what you want it to be. I think that's a big thing. Like when you're trying to mic acoustic instruments, you want the mic that's going to give you like the I don't know, it's like the whole ambiance of what that instrument is, you know. And so like a lot of times you have to like work at it to
Yeah,
find, you know, I know drummers are famous for like playing with tons of mics on their kick drums and on their snares to get the right feel. And I
yeah,
think like I heard violinists and wind instruments are the same thing. You've got to get like the right mic to kind of get the feel of what you want to do.
yeah. Me, I love that the sound is really close to the sound that if you hear it without microphone
Yeah.
on my flute. Yeah.
Do you ever like to play with effect pedals or effects on your flute?
I just bought one, a MIDI pedal. So I never tried it before. So next time when I will be on stage, I will try it.
Oh,
I can't wait.
so you're
But
playing
yeah, I would like to do some delay effects, you know, and reverb to, yeah, this is funny. But for now, I'm turn my machine with my hands. But when I'm playing, this is difficult. So
yeah.
can't wait to use it.
I think it's interesting because I started getting like I play synthesizers like Moogs and Rolands, and a lot of times what we'll do with our analog senses, we'll get, you know, like distortion pedals, or we'll
Yeah,
get laser
so
pedals,
cool.
and then we use like spring reverbs and digital reverbs to get
Yeah,
analog reverbs that have a totally different feel. Like if you get a digital, you can have really precise control. But what I like is I'm kind of an old school guy. I go like Hammond B3 organs, Moogs, you know, analog, because it's kind of like the same thing. It's like it reminds me when I'm playing a clarinet or playing like a Fender Stratocaster or something. It's something about an analog instrument that feels closer to my clarinet. It feels closer.
yeah,
It feels more like an organic instrument, even though it's
yeah,
electronic.
exactly. Organic sound.
Yeah, that's kind of. Do you feel like you like like the analog sounds in electronic music more than digital, or do you use kind of whatever serves the song?
Sorry, I didn't understand. So
I guess
can
like
you
there are some folks in electronic music that spend a lot of time focusing just on analog sound rather than digital.
analog or machine? That's
Yeah. Because there's some folks that like the feel of like the 1970s and 60s, the way the synths back then are all analog, they're not digital, right? So they have a different feel than what the digital synths sound like. And some people, when they play with like flutes or guitars or basses, they prefer to have the older type of electronic music instruments. So I was just wondering if you have a preference with more modern digital kind of DAW based instruments, or for synthesizer parts, or do you like maybe organic like analog?
no, for the electronic parts, I only use MIDI and virtual instrument. This is your question, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And but I love to, you know, I work with a native instrument, complete 9. And there is a lot of organic instrument. For example, I love the sound of double bass.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Yeah.
so this is not a real double bass. This is a virtual, but this is close to the real sound. And sometimes I like to use it, or violin, or this. I love to have a organic sound, but unfortunately, I don't know a violin orchestra. So I have to play. My orchestra is in my keyboard, you know. But I try to make it sound organic, natural. Yeah. But for the bass, I love too the, you know, sub bass, big sub bass.
Yeah, yeah.
and kick, electro kick, big too. Yeah, I love to mix natural and unnatural sound.
Well, there's a lot of, virtual analog. There's a lot of sampled sounds that can get close to the real thing, and that's one of the cool
Yeah,
things. I think that the technology has provided musicians with, like, on their PC you can get access to so many sounds.
yeah,
And
and
sometimes
this
it's
is so
overwhelming.
great.
Some people find it like sometimes they like to step back and get like play something on an organ because it's limited. Like sometimes in music, do you find like if you have limitations because an instrument doesn't have 1,000 sounds, it has the character it has, right? Like if you're playing like an organic instrument, that's what it is. And
Yeah,
electronic instruments, you can make them. They have so many choices that sometimes you can get caught up in the rabbit hole of there's too many choices and you can't figure out which one you
yeah,
want to use.
yeah. This is so cool.
Yeah, so I mean that's one of the things I've kind of stepped back and started using like synths that have limitations because they're like they don't have patches, they don't have presets. I have to like program them every day. They change. Like if I have a mode, it doesn't have it has no
Mhm,
set sound.
mhm,
So
mm.
every day you have to force yourself. Well, not to force, but it's kind of a joy to actually build the sound as part of the process. As part of like you're not just using like a set sound. You actually build the sound or the pad that gives you that feel for the song. It's a different
Yeah,
way of doing it, but
this is great.
so do you work with producers or do you mostly do everything yourself or do you go to a studio after you do a demo and work with a producer to finish the song?
For my own music,
Yeah.
if I do everything alone. I go in studio. I used to go in studio before to record my voice, but now I record at home because I'm relaxed. I have the material, so I do all by myself.
Do it yourself.
Yeah. But I work with other projects, so I go in studio. So I continue to go to studio, but with my own project as Azcabaria, I do all by me, by my own.
So do you work on other people's projects? You work on music in general with other producers, like doing your flute work or electronic work on with other people? You actually
It will arrive. For the moment, I have several propositions from different artists, DJ, rapper,
oh cool.
and acoustic instruments.
Hmm.
But for now, I finished my EP because I'm on my
Your own
EP.
your own project.
Yeah, so I want to finalize my EP. I'm on the mixing, so this is
The hard part.
the end. Yeah, and after I sent it to my friend who will do the mastering, and it will be okay. And after that, I will begin all that project, but I won't tell you more because I want to keep the surprise.
What is the target date for your EP?
Sorry?
What is the date for the release of your EP?
I don't know because always I said a date. It's never ready. I'm a crazy of
So
the
you think sometime 2021, like
yeah,
mid-year,
yeah. It
mid-year?
will be arriving in these few months.
Say
1 month, 2 months, maybe
okay, before the summer, maybe by spring.
before the summer. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
can't wait. So
when
after that, I will do all this collaboration, and I'm really happy.
well, that's
Yeah.
cool. I mean, I think as a musician, it's good to have a pipeline of work to do with a lot of other people. It's good to collab. It's part of me. I'm a musician myself. I do this podcast because it gives me a way to connect with other musicians.
Yeah.
And then that gives me ideas because every week I'm listening like a radio DJ to all these people. And when you're a musician, I think when you're able to listen and talk to other musicians, it
Yeah.
helps you. I mean, because it builds up. Because like every week I'm talking to a different person in a different genre, and then I go listen to your work, and then that kind of inspires me in my own work. And
Yeah.
I
Sure.
think it's a great thing to collab, to produce, to guest on people, you know, to be featured with other people, and then to work on your own project, because then that's kind of, I like the fact that I talk to a lot of independent musicians like yourself who
Yeah.
are more and more taking control, like a do it yourself. You guys, a
Yeah.
lot of these, especially women. I mean, most of the people I interview in music have been women in the last 2 years, because I find that in this new era, women are actually doing things that are more interesting than some of the men.
Thank you.
Most of the women I interview are doing very interesting genre changing work, where some of the traditional, you know, men in music have been stuck in like old genres that kind of not, like rock is not as big anymore. You know, the rock genre. What seems to be more innovative is like hip hop, electronic, you know, DJs, those type of genres. And in those genres, there's a lot of women who are taking
Yeah.
the reins as producers, as
Yeah.
like, you know, full bands, you
Mm.
know, full concepts, and you know, and I just think it's good to give everybody a chance, and because the old radio networks are kind of stuck on not moving into a new era, and that's what I try to do with this show, is like give people a chance to be out there, um, and get heard for a pretty good length of time. So I'm glad that you came on the show.
Thank you.
So you are working on your album. It's probably by springtime. Do you have a name for it, or you're still kind of working on it?
Yeah, I have a name for it. The name is La vie en rêve. That means life in dream.
Oh, awesome! Is the swim song going to be on the album?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. 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 So, Swim was the single for give the stop to this EP.
Okay.
To
So we were talking about the video. Are you planning to do a video for like every song on the record, or you'll kind of wait and see?
I hope, but to do a video with all the sound is many
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
So for Swim, I am lucky. I am lucky because I did a crowdfunding. You know,
Crowdfunding. Okay, cool.
yeah. So people help me to.
So do you have a Patreon, or do you have a crowdfunding site? Do you have like what?
I had a crowdfunding for Swim.
Okay.
And so I had the budget. I have the money for do this wonderful clip and make the promotion. You know, because
Yeah.
there is all around.
That's a great video. I mean, that's going to be like a real center point of the record already. I'm looking forward to what you're going to do with the rest of it, because I hear a lot of like Tori Amos, you know, Kate Bush in your
Yeah.
sound. You've got that kind of progressive synthesis that I like. Kind of, it's like you don't hear it as much today. Some of the music is a different direction, more beat focused, and you've kind of got a merging of that kind of beat focus. But because I think you're a little softer, I like it when things are a little softer and it's spaced out. Like I like hearing like the silence between the notes. And so you have things that are like, and it's a different setting. And if you're in a club, you want something because you're going to dance. But if you want like a song you're going to listen to, you're going to start to
Exactly.
bring in like songwriter techniques from the 70s and the 60s and the 80s, which means it's actually going to be a song, not just a beat. And there's a difference in the types of, you know, genres in electronic music. There's a lot of stuff that's like beat oriented, but it's not song oriented. And you know, you've got lyrics, you've got imagery that really kind of fits the singer songwriter type of genre, which it seems like, is that what you're going for, or do you have more beat focused type of songs too?
Thank you.
Do you have like beat type of songs that are more dance songs, or is there most of your stuff like in the soft techno format where it's more song?
Do I have a temper song? What is this? Sorry.
I'm saying like more like disc, like dance techno, but you're soft techno, and you
Yeah.
seem like the songs are more song. The song "Swim" is like a full singer songwriter type of song. I'm asking you, do you have songs that are going to be on your record that are similar to "Swim," or are they all like different?
This is well, you will hear it, but I have PCs, tracks. Sorry, I have tracks, which is more dance club, you know,
Okay, that's what I was getting at. Yeah.
and some more smooth too.
Like ballads, maybe more ballad type.
Yeah, no ballad, but it's always electro. But I have one with a little smoother.
Mhm.
But this is an EP with a lot of influences and a lot of touch of different music, you know.
Okay, so it's
And
kind of varied. So it's not gonna all sound like the same. Like every song's not gonna sound the same. It's gonna feel like an album.
yeah, it will have many. How can I say it?
Texture.
Many ambient, you know.
Okay,
Yeah.
I
So
get that. That's one thing I like about like albums or EPs is that the artist is able to kind of stretch out. Like if you just release a singles, it's like okay, well that's what it is. But then when you're on an album, you can have different styles of music on the same album. You can have
yeah,
you have something that's fast, something that's slow, something that's more heavy, and then it kind of gives you like a whole picture of the artist. Like 'cause I like that's one thing I like about vinyl
yeah, me too.
is
The only way, the same way is to I want make people dream, you know,
yeah.
dream and relax and dance, and this is the way of the EP, but with many tricks,
Do you
different.
think you're gonna do a physical release? Would you have it on CD or tape or vinyl, or will it all be digital?
I would like to do vinyl.
Vinyl. I think vinyl. Well, I've been talking to a lot of artists. What I like about vinyl
Yeah.
is it makes you listen to the whole project.
Yes, because the CD, nobody listens CD now, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. But the vinyl, what I find is like your fans. I think fans like to be able to get close to an artist, and if they have a physical
Yeah.
copy, and vinyl is just so more intimate with your fan because it gives you a bigger landscape to be an artist. Like the way you did your video, if you have a really good artist do the cover, and then you
Yeah.
have the liner notes, and you actually have the lyrics written out, and
Yeah.
you have pictures and artwork,
Yeah.
then the fan actually has something that feels more substantial, and they're more likely to listen to more of your music because
Yeah.
they're actually going to sit down. And vinyl kind of you sit down, you listen to the whole thing. You usually don't
Exactly.
skip around because it's hard to do. And
Yeah.
most people don't want to do that. If they're a vinyl collector, they actually listen to the whole project. But
Yeah.
as a
And you
goal,
have
as
to
the
stand
artist,
up to return the.
yeah, you have to flip it and you got to listen to it. And then it seems like it's a whole resurgence. I'm actually talking to a lot of folks that are buying really nice systems. Like a lot of systems like in the 70s and the 80s, it was like the height of vinyl. And you had these really awesome hi-fi systems. And then now they're all coming back. And the people who are into music, like it's like you can do very well with vinyl. Actually, as an artist, you can if you put your vinyl out yourself, you fund it yourself, you'll actually do better financially than you do on the streaming.
Yeah. So I will do it in streaming too, but
Yeah, but if you get vinyl, I'll get your vinyl for sure.
thank you.
'Cause I'm starting to collect. I'm getting a hi-fi system, and I'm looking to put a lot of new records on my platter. And yours will
Great.
be on the list. Um, but yeah, definitely when the album comes out, we'd like you to come back on and have a show where we kind of talk about the record.
Great. Okay, with pleasure. Yeah.
That's something. Now, are you able to do shows where you are, or you have to still do everything virtually?
Outside, you mean? A real
Yeah, can you
show?
do like the show outside shows or indoor shows, or everything has to be like online?
I can do show, but the problem is in France with
Mhm.
the COVID. In this moment, there is no concert. There is no live. There is everything is closed.
Everything, yeah, it's like here, we can't do it either. The only
Yeah.
thing we have been able to do is maybe go to a stage where nobody is. So
Yeah.
people start a stage, and then they'll film it, and then you'll like charge a ticket price, like $5 a ticket, and then maybe 100 people show up
Really?
and then you spend like more than you needed to. But and then in California they're doing drive-ins, so they actually let people come in their car, and the band goes on a stage by the drive-in screen,
Ah,
and you
yeah?
actually watch everybody listens to the band in their car, so nobody's
Okay.
outside. And so it works in California because they have drive-ins, they still have them. But a lot of places in the U.S. the drive-ins are gone, so they're not there. But that's
Okay.
something that if COVID keeps on going into 2022, promoters are talking about, at least in the U.S., is building drive-ins for concerts so that they can take advantage of the authorities saying that people can be in their cars and go to the concert and have the band actually outside, which is kind of cool.
This is at least they listen music and they can see a concert.
You can see the band, and the band gets to have an audience. I mean, they're all in their cars, but they
Yeah.
they beat their horn
Dance in your car. Woo!
wave your hand out the window. Hey, but yeah, it's interesting. So, are you going to do any kind of online from your like studio or through a streaming service or anything?
Yeah, for the moment I do live from here in my home studio,
Yeah.
and I post some video on my social network on Instagram most of all, and for example for the release of my clip, I released it in April 2020, and we was in lockdown. So I wanted to do a release, but on YouTube. So I did a showcase from here, and after that I released the clip. And after that, we was with Camila Lou, the woman who did my clip.
Yeah.
We was together on Instagram in live with people to talk about the clip and drink a glass and everything.
They had like a release party.
A release party, but
party.
on internet.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody has to do. I mean, I in my home studio, I do like Twitch performances all the time that I put on my Instagram. I've been doing it since 2016. I mean, normally I would go to New York City or Boston because I'm in the East Coast of the U.S. So I typically play like Boston or New York, but you can't do it. So you have to do home studio stuff. So I said, I just set up a bunch of cameras in my home studio, and then I go back and I'll put effects on it. Like, so I'll do a live show, and then I'll go back and then edit the video and throw effects into the video, and then republish the video with the effects, and republish the video with like remastered audio. So I had the live audio, but then I actually go back and I master the audio and then republish the video and then make it more professional, so you can actually hear it better. And yeah, it seems to work. I mean, I've been able to extend my reach to fans like all over the place, not just like in the U.S. I can reach like the whole world. Is that what you like about the net? That the fact that people not just in Paris or France can listen to you, but you get fans like everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere, and even if they are in home and they can't go out, I'm coming in their home.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to reach fans. I think because like the weird thing is like streaming services, people get on a playlist, right? They playlists have like 30, 40 other artists, and then they listen to your one song and then they don't listen to you again.
Yeah.
And the thing about like things like YouTube and Twitch and Instagram is you can get more consistent work out to people, and you can get them to watch you longer. You get them to listen to you for longer than 2 minutes, and then they actually start to get to know you as an artist.
Yeah.
Which it's harder to do that in streaming because they don't do spotlights. Like they need to kind of do artist focus. So if you get an artist, you get to hear all their work. Not just a bunch of other people, which is cool. I understand that, but as an artist for development, you need people to be able to hear a lot more of your work.
Of course. We do that for share it. So if there is nobody.
Yeah, it's hard with the way it's presented to the people today. It's harder to get their attention because there's so many people releasing things.
Yeah.
You find that that's difficult, like with streaming services, your album is it gonna be like on Spotify and
Yeah.
iTunes and it's gonna be on all those platforms?
Yeah. I will put it on Spotify, and Swim is on Spotify too.
Oh, it just is
Spotify.
on there now.
Yeah. Deezer, Spotify, and everything. You asked me what I think about streaming, right?
Yeah, compared to 10 years ago, people had to go to the record store and buy a CD.
Yeah.
But whether or not you could put a CD out, you might not be able to because you had to go through a record company.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's like streaming gets you out there where maybe 10 years ago you might not even be able to get your record out. But then like there's the other side of it, like where you don't really get a lot of compensation for it. So so
Yeah.
what are you thinking about it? The positives and the negatives?
I think there is good and not good with the streaming. I think that the first thing is, for example, the good thing is you can share music around the world. You can send a track to the other side of the world. You can be on Spotify, for example, without a big music company. This is good. But the bad thing is that when you are not a big company of music, when you are an independent artist like me, this is really difficult to have money with your tracks because your track is on the Spotify, but you never had money. This is the big company who have your money, you know. This is really strange. I don't know how, but
yeah, I mean you gotta do like 100 million streams to even make.
Yeah.
They're paying like 0.004 of a penny.
Yeah, and you're when somebody listen to you, the money go to the another people. So this is really strange.
Well,
So
it's kind of like the record industry from the beginning. If you go back to the 1950s, you're getting like ours. We're getting like 10 cents.
Yeah.
Or 5 cents for on a record, right? And they're selling a record for like $4.
Yeah.
So records being sold for, so it's not that different because somebody's getting 5 cents, somebody was selling it for $4.
Yeah,
so
but when we had this, the CD, when we had this CD, I'm a little nostalgic because you, as you said, you bought a CD and you really discovered an artist because in generally this is an album, so you buy it for one track, but you will listen all the album. And now we don't do that. Now we have a track that we put in a playlist, and this is lost in a lot of playlists. And I know even me, I have a lot of tracks that I love, but I don't always know who is the artist in real.
Yeah, I mean, because you're on a playlist, but how often does somebody actually click the link on the playlist and actually go to the artist? And so then
but I don't know that if everybody do that, you know. We do that because we are musician and we love to discover musician, but I think people in generally, they just say, I like this track, up in a playlist and up, goodbye.
Well, that's like if you're on Instagram and you get a reel, right? You put out a reel, you get like 5,000, 10,000 people on the reel. Like 100 people hit the like.
Yeah.
But like 5,000 people watched it. But only 100 of them actually hit the like button. Because like people are so distracted today.
Yeah.
They don't.
All is really fast.
Yeah, the things are going so fast that people don't hit the like. They don't like subscribe to you. They don't hit the buttons that actually kind of relay into artist compensation. It's just interesting to me. If you think about it, like YouTubers can get people to like give them tips.
Yeah.
Like, they're YouTube gamers that can get like $10, $20 tips from their fans.
Yeah.
But musicians, we can't get people to go to Amazon and actually buy the download.
Yeah.
And so it's just trying to get people to understand, it's like, okay, I understand you like this YouTube gamer and you're willing to fund them and give them money. I mean, you were able to crowdfund, so you were able to do it. But it's like we have to be able to kind of translate that kind of YouTube model where YouTube fans are willing to actually pay the YouTubers.
Yeah, yeah,
And
I
we
know
gotta
that.
get people to realize music is not free.
Yeah,
You know, and that's been a hard thing ever since Napster. It's been hard to get the public to realize what it was. You know, back
yeah,
in the day. I mean, I bought Purple Rain on vinyl the day it came out. I went down to a record store and I physically bought the vinyl. And that's, you know, my whole, as a kid, every record I bought was vinyl because that's what
yeah.
it was. And
Hmm.
then later I converted everything to CD. But but it's like, you know, back in that time, you had to do that, and it was kind of
Yeah,
fun. Every Tuesday, go to the record store,
yeah.
get
And
the new releases, and I would be all hyped to like, oh, the new Guns N' Roses is out, oh, the new Soft Cell's out. You know, I'd go running down to go get it. I'd be reading Rolling Stone magazine and looking for everything that had a 4-star review.
yeah,
And I was, because I'm a music fan, so I would go read Spin and Rolling Stone and any band, doesn't matter the genre. If they got like 4 or 5 stars, I would run down and buy it just because I was interested. And there's still people that do that, but not as many. It's just trying to get
no, yeah,
fans to kind of read the music journals and get interested in work. And that's why I try to do this show, so it gives people a focus for longer than 5 minutes, to get into an artist and say, hey, you know, that was a cool interview. Maybe I'll check out that band. You know,
yeah.
that's the best we can do. Well, I'm happy you came on the show. We have your link up, and this is going to be permanently on my Facebook. We're going to put it on YouTube. We're also going to put it onto Anchor FM, which will put the audio only, onto Spotify, onto Apple, onto 9
Okay.
other podcast platforms. And we'll give you those links as they start to show up.
Mm-hmm.
Give you the Apple and the Spotify, and we'll put an Instagram story up that will link directly to the Spotify audio only. But
Okay.
this version will be on my Facebook, which is the Phantom Electric Ghost Facebook page. And we thank you for being on the show. We're really happy you came on.
Thank you.
Everybody should check out your video, get it pumped up, and get more views so you get some deals.
Great.
And that's how it works. It's like you get that to 1 million views, you know, then you get going. So let's push it.
Okay.
Everybody go out there and look at Swim right now. You know, when you'll see a piece of it on, well, you actually see the whole thing here, but go and hit the YouTube link too. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you very much to you. I was really happy to talk with you, to speak with you.
Oh, it's great. Thank you.
Bye. So.
Bye.